Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Thanks for coming by the BellisarioSonic YouTube channel from the heart of the Deep South on the outskirts of Birmingham, Alabama, where we talk about music, records, do record reviews, interviews, and much more. If you're interested in modern jazz releases, working jazz musicians, this is a channel you're probably going to want to subscribe to. I do a lot of reviews of modern releases that a lot of other channels probably don't do. So today I'm going to be doing a deep dive on a jazz pianist that I've known a little bit about, but nothing in detail. I've seen his name on different records, different CDs, jazz CDs that I've had. And about a month ago or so, I saw this 4 LP set on Amazon. It was like under 20 bucks. So it was a really great deal. It still might be on sale. This is 4 LPs covering 2 albums. And the 2 albums are called Lullabluebye and Play. Now, Frank Kimbrough was born in 1956, died in 2020. He's pretty much a post-bop type pianist, straight ahead for the most part. Was born and raised in Roxborough, North Carolina. Started playing piano at a young age. His mom was a piano player, started him out, and then he started taking formal lessons when he was 7 years old. And he learned to appreciate a wide variety of jazz growing up, which you'll hear on this record. I'm going to play something from all 8 sides, so buckle in. What I'm going to do is intersperse the biographical information with songs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to play a song off of each of these sides. So again, you have 8 sides. Volume 1 is Lullabluebye, so that's the first 2 records. Volume 2 is called Play. Some great intense playing on here. Beautiful ballads, beautiful intense up-tempo tunes, all kinds of stuff on these 2 albums. 2 different trio lineups. I love trios. You've got Frank Kimbrough, Ben Allison, and Matt Wilson on drums. And if you guys missed the review I did of this Ben Allison album, he's the one playing on this. Great bass player. This is a fantastic album called Layers of the City. I did a full review on that not long ago, so go check that out. So what I'm going to do, though, is intersperse the biographical information as I play. I'll play a tune, give you a little more information, play another tune so that you're not sitting here listening to a whole monologue. But he learned to appreciate a very wide variety of jazz growing up. He says a memorable encounter with jazz was watching on PBS, where he said he saw the Bill Evans trio, and he said afterwards everything changed. He found a Bill Evans record in a cutout bin, he says, in one of the interviews that I watched. And he says that a friend of his also played him Miles Davis's record 4 and More, and that sealed the deal for him. He was going to be a jazz pianist. So let's open this up. Let's take a look at this 4 record set, and then let's throw on and listen to a song off of side 1, and then I'll give you a little more information about Frank. I'll throw on another song, and we'll just go through. So go grab your beverage. I'm going to open this up and show this to you guys. Go grab your beverage and buckle in, because this is going to be kind of a long video. I do like doing these. I like playing these records for you guys. That way I don't have to explain everything. You know, on a lot of channels, they'll try to explain to you what it sounds like. To me, it's easier just to play the record for you guys. So, all right, let's open this up. So again, this is a 4 LP set covering 2 albums. So you got a gatefold here. Let you guys have the first look. And 2 albums, Lullabluebye and Play. And we'll get into a little bit more about these records as well. This covers the period between 2003 and 2006. And you have 2 records in each of the sides of the gatefold. So it's kind of a thick gatefold. Here are the first 2 records of the first album, black vinyl and black labels. They are just in regular paper sleeves, so I'll replace those with poly sleeves. So let me go ahead and take these out. We'll get a little bit more into this. You have basically just a thick gatefold jacket. And then, again, inside of each of these sides, you've got 2 records. So, you know, about average thickness, nothing, you know, it's not really thick as far as the actual cardstock goes, but, you know, it's decent, about average. And then you've got a nice thick spine, because, again, it's thick enough to do 4 records. So, all right, let's go ahead and clean off side 1, or LP 1. And So in college, Frank, this is kind of interesting because he majored in classical music. For one of his assignments, though, he was brought in transcriptions of Bill Evans and Chick Corea. He was given an F by his professors for bringing in jazz. He was eventually kind of forced out of college. He never earned a degree because he was so interested in jazz, even though he was taking classical in the school, but they didn't like that. So said it, in one of his interviews, it says it made him very difficult for him to stay in college. So he never got his degree. His big influences on piano is Herbie Nichols. We'll talk a little bit more about him. Thelonious Monk, Cecil Taylor, Keith Jarrett, of course, Bill Evans. So wiping this off with some distilled water. We're going to throw it on the Fluence RT85 with the Ortofon Blue. Going through a Shipmoney preamp into my Yamaha HS8 speakers. Hopefully I'm going to be upgrading my preamp soon. So I'm looking at two different preamps that run around $500, which should be a pretty good upgrade from the Money. The Shipmoney is a great buy for $150, and for people that have, you know, $500 turntables, that's a pretty decent place to start. But I'm going to start upgrading some of my equipment, and I definitely want to go ahead and upgrade the preamp first. So, all right, let's put this on. Let's listen to a tune called Kid Stuff. I'll put that on this track 3 on this record. And you get a chance to hear how great of a piano player this guy really was. A lot of different types of songs across these couple of albums. Let's see what kind of sound quality we're gonna have on these. I've been listening to it streaming in my car. Again, this album's from 2003. Ben Allison on bass, Matt Wilson on drums. Nice sounding record so far. First album came out in 1986. Great playing on here, straight ahead jazz for the most part. records. Couple little clicks there. Other than that, it's been quiet so far. Record has a tiny bit of a little warp. You can barely see it, so nothing that's affecting playing, but I can see it barely. It's not perfectly flat. Hear the drums towards the left more. Pianos, you hear it both speakers, but it does favor the right. Most of these tunes are around 5-6 minutes. Longest tune across both records is like 8 minutes. But they all kind of fall around the 4.5 to 5.5 to 6 minute length. And the bass is kind of straight down the middle. Drums favor the left, piano favors the right. That one's called Kid Stuff. A lot of these are Frank's own tunes, which I think is kind of cool. I'm gonna go ahead and lift this up, flip it over. We'll talk a little bit more about Frank, and then we'll drop down and listen to another song. If you guys have any suggestions for $500, $600 preamps, leave it in the comments, please. I'm still undecided. So a little bit more about Frank, and then we'll drop on another tune. So he ends up not finishing college because his views on jazz aren't well received at college. In his younger days, he did some gigs around Chapel Hill with his first trio before he moved to Washington, D.C. in 1980. During the year that he lived in D.C., he led his own trio. He played some hard bop gigs with Webster Young and Buck Hill. When Bill Evans died in September of 1980, Kimbrough joined Anthony Braxton for a 2-night gig paying tribute to Bill Evans. Kimbrough then moved to New York in 1981, started recording under his own name 5 years later. Again, his first record comes out in 1986. All right, let's go ahead and drop on a tune called Fubu, 4.5 minute tune, another Frank Kimbrough original. 'Tis the season for static. You touch stuff and you get static electricity. All right. A lot of different grooves and different things going on across both of these albums. Playing. Nice tonal balance. You can hear everything nice. It's a nice mix. Drums sound nice. You got pretty good resonance. The instruments well recorded. You got pretty good depth. Not the most depth I've heard on a record, but it sounds pretty good. Pretty warm sounding. Not harsh or cold. Has a nice full round sound. You really can hear everything well. So it was recorded at Maggie's Farm, April 15th and 16th of 2003, and it was remixed for this reissue in 2021 by the same guy that recorded it, Matt Balitsaris. A 2022 release. Now the next trio is different. You got Paul Motian playing drums on the next record and Masa Kamaguchi on bass. Nice. Awesome. So that one was called Fubu. The next one I really like, it's called Whirl. So I'm going to take this record off, put it in the poly sleeve. We'll drop on side 3 and play Whirl. It's one of my favorite ones. I love how they speed things and slow things up. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to play that for you next. Let's go through a little bit more and talk about Frank, and then I'll drop this on. Again, I just want to intersperse the bio information with the tunes, so you can kick back and kind of enjoy the music. The 90s, Kimbrough was teaching at the New York University and playing as a sideman in Maria Schneider's big band. I think that's where he really got his breakthrough, was playing with her. Kimbrough has been a member of the Herbie Nichols Project, which was a band that dedicated itself to playing and recording the music of the underexposed pianist Herbie Nichols. The band was directed by Ben Allison, who was also part of that project, who I mentioned earlier that I did a review of last week of one of his albums. So the band was directed by Ben Allison, who featured Kimbrough on the project's Love is Proximity album on Soul Note and some of his own albums Frank played on. Two musicians also co-founded the Jazz Composers Collective in 1992, which ran for 12 seasons. So both of these guys, again, which was established to give more exposure to new jazz composers. Frank played with the Maria Schneider Orchestra for more than 25 years. He was also a big music educator, teaching piano at New York University during the 90s. He became a professor at the Juilliard School in 2008, and was very well liked there at the Juilliard community, and his students really apparently really liked him a lot. So let me go ahead and put this record in its sleeve, and we're going to play Whirl. I think you're really going to dig this. It's pretty cool. So let me get an anti-static sleeve. I've been using these Hudson Hi-Fi anti-static sleeves. This is what I've been using here lately, which are pretty close to the Mo-Fi. They seem to be anyway. So these only come in paper sleeves, so I'm like I usually do. I save my paper sleeves and use those. You know, if I pick up older records in the $1 bin or $2 bin and they might not be in the best shape, I'll save those paper sleeves for stuff like those. Or I pick up albums at a flea market or something like that, I'll use those paper sleeves sometimes for those kind of records. Okay, so let me go ahead and put this on, and this is called Whirl. I love this. Just check out how the tempo changes in the way this is really cool. And this record here looks flat, so perfectly flat. Check this out, it's awesome. even though he's pretty much a straight ahead player, he can get out there. It's definitely one of those tunes where that's freaking awesome. So that one's called Whirl. That's freaking awesome. I wonder how long they had to practice that to get all those tempo changes and stops and all this other. That's one of my favorites across these two records for sure. I really like that one. A lot of free playing there. I'm gonna flip it over. We're gonna listen to, I think, the only cover on this record. This one is called "You Only Live Twice," which is a John Barry tune from the James Bond movie. So let's take a listen to that. Talk a little bit more about Frank here, especially about his live shows, because he never planned his sets. He did not rehearse. He did not like to rehearse with his bandmates. He wanted freedom when everybody was playing on stage, and he also went for the same kind of thing in the studio. He said he wanted his live shows to be more like an audience eavesdropping over musical conversation rather than watching a show. He said that he didn't like shows, quote unquote shows. He said if you know what's going to happen at the gig, a show, you might as well stay at home, listen to the record, you know. So very interesting guy when it came to not only live performances that were very unscripted, but he also did the same thing in the studio. So we'll talk a little bit more about his studio recordings here after we listen to another tune. Appreciate you guys hanging out, listening to this music. I do recommend this if you like piano trios. This whole thing is just a lot of fun to listen to. A lot of different moods, grooves. You know, even though it's more straight ahead type of playing, he does get out there in certain places and does very original player, I think. This one's called "You Only Live Twice." So we're on side 4 now. And he talks a little bit about the tunes here in the liner notes. So again, nice sounding recording. Records have been fairly clean. There's been a little bit of surface noise. I clean all these off with distilled water. And the records have been fairly flat. The first one had a slight warp. This one's pretty flat. Next, we'll be going to the next record called Play. Wonderful playing. Love it. Freaking awesome. So again, some cool write-ups here on both records, and then about the recording of the records here. I'm going to go ahead and put on, we're going to go to the next album. So again, the first two pieces of vinyl are the album Lullabluebye, and then the second two pieces of vinyl are from the album called Play, which is very different sounding than this, because now you go to a completely different trio. You've got Frank Kimbrough playing with Masa Kamaguchi, a different bass player, and then Paul Motian, who they were able to get to go and record this with them. And that, I guess, according to the liner notes, took some doing to get Paul to leave New York City to come and record this album that we're getting ready to listen to. I'm going to put on a song called The Spins, which is the second tune on the record. So let me go ahead and lift this off and put it in a sleeve here, and then we'll get on with it. So again, in the studio, Frank also didn't like to do a lot of rehearsal, which would be interesting to learn about this. You know, pretty much they were first or second takes always in the studio, from what I read and what he's talked about in some of his interviews. So he liked that first take a lot of times, because he said that it was more free playing. People were still figuring things out. It was more spontaneous when people played that first take, which is something that Vladimir Shafranov also said when I interviewed him, another piano player. So let's put on The Spins here, second tune. Again, appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm going to play something from all four sides of this record as well. It's a waltz here. So again, gatefold, 2 LPs go in each side. This one's called The Spins. It's a great set to get. I would get it while you can. Again, nice sounding record too. You really have the whole spectrum, your highs, your lows, your mids. Very nice mix. Remastered 4 vinyl for this release. Wipe off the 4th record. chattering just a little bit back there as they're playing. Yeah, I love it. Nice. That's really cool. Great. Again, if you get this, again, it was on Amazon for like, was under 20 bucks. It might be around 20 bucks now. It's definitely worth picking up. I mean, this is fantastic playing. So I'm going to flip this over. We're going to listen to a tune called Conception Vessel, which is by, it's Paul Motian tune. This record has a little tiny bit of a warp too. Nothing that's affecting the playing, but it's not perfectly flat. I can see just a little bit. Check this out. This is Conception Vessel. That's freaking awesome. So again, this record has a bit of a different feel than the other one. To me, this one has much more of a post-bop type feel to it. The other one a little bit more straight ahead. bass player is freaking phenomenal. This Masa Kamaguchi, I've never heard of him, but completely different than the other record. This has a very similar sonic quality to it as far as how it's mixed and the sound of the instruments and everything. And they were recorded at the same place by the same guy, so they both sound wonderful. That one's called Conception Vessel. Awesome. I mean, definitely this record has a different feel to it than the first record. All right, so let's go ahead and flip it over and let's listen to one called Regeneration, a piano bass duo composed 9 days after the tragedies of September 2001. And so let's check that out. Flip it over and we'll listen to that. Let me go ahead and put this in the sleeve. We're going on to the last record. I appreciate you guys again hanging out. Fantastic set, 4 LPs, 2 albums, all remastered for vinyl. Frank Kimbrough, definitely I think an underexposed, you don't really hear a lot about him, unfortunately. But this set is really fantastic. So this is tune called Regeneration by Frank Kimbrough, and Masa Kamaguchi is playing the bass. So kind of a bit of a laid back so we'll listen to a little bit of this. I know the video is going out almost an hour, so I want to try to keep it under an hour, but so what I'll do is we'll close out with a tune called Little Big Man. It'll be a little bit more of an up-tempo tune. I just wanted to kind of give you an example of maybe a little bit more of a laid-back ballad type tune. And again, this is just the 2 of them playing. It's still very intense playing, beautiful. Yeah, if you can find this at a good price, I'd definitely pick it up. This is hours of enjoyment. I mean, he recorded on 70 albums, over 70 albums as a sideman, and 20 of his own. This final record looks pretty flat. I've had a little surface noise here and there, nothing crazy. Playing. I mean, listen to the bass. right, I'm going to bring this down. We're going to close out with another tune. It's going to be a little bit more of an up-tempo tune. Again, a lot of different tempos across all four of these records. The first record, Lullabluebye, being a little bit more straightforward, even though he does kind of go out there and, you know, you hear some of that post-bop stuff, a little bit of free playing there, like on Whirl. This one, you've got, it sounds very different with the different, you know, with Paul Motian on drums, and then this other bass player, you get a very different feel, and this is definitely more post-bop type stuff. So a great 2-record set, I think. So let's go ahead and close out with a tune called Little Big Man. Drums sound wonderful. And just 2 nice sounding albums. Again, all recorded at the same place, Maggie's Farm. By Matt Balitsaris. Again. All completely remixed for vinyl. Sound wonderful. Great intense playing. Coming up, Atlantic 75ths have arrived. The next shipment. Trick of the Tail. Bags and Train coming. Donny Hathaway. All those coming your way soon. Reviews, needle drops. Got this one coming up. Thanks to somebody's recommendation. I highly recommend this, folks. If you can pick up these 4 records at a good price, grab it. Frank was also directly mentored by Paul Bley and Andrew Hill. To me, you can hear some of that, a lot of that influence, in my opinion, comes out on the second 2 records, the second album, Play. So for me, this set really, you know, if you like piano playing, you get a bit of everything. He's a very versatile player. First album, if you like more straight ahead type stuff, even though, again, he has his own sound, his own way of doing things. But the first record, to me, a little bit more straight ahead, straightforward, where the second one here, you get a lot more of this kind of stuff. So it really makes a nice set here. Bass sounds awesome. Gotta love Paul's drumming. right, folks. I definitely recommend this. One of the most underrated jazz pianists probably ever. So there you have it. Full review of Frank Kimbrough's 4-record set of 2 albums, Lullabluebye and Play. Go out and get it. If you like piano trio records, you're not going to be disappointed. Fantastic. All right, we'll talk to you later. A lot more stuff to come, a lot more jazz reviews to come. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Please subscribe and give the thumbs up and share the music with other people. Happy listening. Take care.